Hey everybody, this is Ben here at That Cologne Guy coming at you with a new review. Happy Friday to you. As you know, this is the channel that welcomes you to your weekend, so happy Friday. I hope you have a positively wonderful weekend, and if you're watching this on any other day, always remember it is always Friday here at That Cologne Guy with you guys, the Cologne crew. Speaking of which, before I dive in on the review this week, I want to welcome all the new subscribers. Yet again, we've had another blast slash avalanche slash burst slash blitzkrieg of subscribers. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I have so much fun with you guys, and always appreciate the new subscribers. And take a look at my channel. I've done a few of the Amwash playlists for men, women, library collection, and I've also done a first impression series that I do every summer, of which this is an example. So welcome aboard. We are the Cologne crew. We are the few, the proud, the Cologne crew. Welcome aboard, and I appreciate the recent comments of the new subscribers saying that I always get the same comment that I have a radio voice. Well, I sincerely appreciate that, and you guys are far too kind. All right, so let's dive in. This week, I am taking a look at none other. You might notice, by the way, the lighting is a little bit different because I'm in the evening, and I don't usually record here in the evening, but I needed a little extra time on this one. I have to tell you, this scent has left me a little perplexed. And this is, this week, is none other than, let's see if I can get it to, okay, there we go. This is Osmanth Yunnan, and this is by Hermes, and I've have it down below listed. This is a 2005 release, of course, by Hermes, by none other than Jean-Claude Ellena. So this is another one by one of the best parfumers in the business, and I have to say, I really wrestled with this one this week. I don't know if there's been another fragrance that has perplexed me more. In some ways, this misses the mark totally, and in other ways, it's a hidden gem. So I really wanted to take a little extra time. I know this is a first impressions, which means I don't, I usually just kind of do an off-the-cuff thing, but I really wanted to take a look at a couple of the elements. So this episode will be a slight departure from my normal format. If this is your first episode with me, I usually kind of just go off the cuff. But on my left, I have some notes, and then I'm going to be reading on the right as well. I've got a few things I want to read for you, and I want you to know that I'm reading. So this fragrance is an EDT from the Hermescence line. This is not part of their main work, and I wanted to read for you what the Hermescence line is, because I want to start off this review by, you need to know their frame of mind going into making this fragrance. So this is from the house. This is the statement from Hermes, and it says this: Hermescence, this line, is a collection of sober and intense olfactory poems. Nature is reinvented to original effect. Raw materials are transcended. The collection symbolizes creative freedom, a highly individual writing style encapsulating the essence of the signature of a great house. Each Hermescence fragrance is available with or without a leather case. Whoa. Okay, so that's the idea behind Hermescence, the specific line of fragrances. And then what I wanted you to do, I wanted you to hear what the parfumer had in mind. This is Jean-Claude Ellena talking about what he had in mind when he made this fragrance. Because I think, again, that will help you, because I didn't know, like Yunnan, for example. This will help us as we go through this review. So he said, during a visit to the Forbidden City in Beijing, I was captivated by an exquisite smell that led me by the tip of my nose to the Imperial Palace, where osmanthus bushes were in bloom. In November, despite their tiny size, the flowers exuded a strong scent of apricot and freesia. I imagined combining these blossoms with a tea from Yunnan, the most beautiful province in China, and the idea for the fragrance was born. So that gives you, right off the bat, that gives you an idea of what he had in mind when he was asked to create this fragrance for that specific line. And I think if you don't, look, some people feel like you don't need to know that, because some people feel like, hey, you know, I'm going to spray it. I want to smell it on its own. But I don't know. I kind of think that you need to know the mindset behind the fragrance to begin with. So there you have it. That's his take, and that's the Hermès' take on the line. Now, as far as the fragrance itself, it's actually quite linear. And here's the thing. Here's what I get out of this. I call this apricot tea. Okay, so what I get out of this is, well, first of all, you get a huge apricot note. And now the main thing is, I've told you guys before, especially when I reviewed a lot of the women's fragrances, I other than saying floral, I don't know the specific sense of flowers. So I need to up my floral game. This is a floral fruity. It is an EDT, and so when I was going through some of the women's fragrances with floral notes, I wasn't able to, you know, really talk about what it smells like. So I looked up a couple things, but the number one thing you get out of this thing absolutely is apricot. I call it apricot tea. In fact, for a few days I didn't even remember the name. I just called it the apricot tea scent. And so you're going to get apricot. You're going to get, now it's osmanthus in English. So the title is osmanth, osmanthe, and it's O-S-M-A-N-T-H-E. Actually, I don't even need to say it because it's right there. And osmanthus in English. And so I looked this up, and I wanted to read also, because this is different, and I wanted to read you what the definition of that is, because I'm a huge fan of heliotrope, and I didn't know this, but this is what it says for osmanthus. Like heliotrope, osmanthus is a flower that does not have a traditional floral smell. So that's interesting. In fact, osmanthus, sometimes referred to as tea olive, has a distinctive fruity aroma. It smells a lot like peach and apricot. Often osmanthus is used to blend fruity and floral notes together in a sweet, natural way. So you can see here that you've got osmanthus, apricot, tea, definitely. Those are the big three right there. And then here's where it gets interesting. There's just a hint of leather. And see, the tea and the leather combine almost to like an incense smell to it. So for some people, it's just a full-on tea smell, and then for others, there's just a hint of leather that's going to give it kind of a mix, and almost like an incense. It almost has kind of like a touch of an amouage type smell with the incense, but it's very soft. For me, it's less incense and more tea. So I would call it, like I said, I call it apricot tea. And then the final note that they list was freesia. And again, I'm going to come clean and say I'm not exactly sure what freesia smells like. Okay, so just to finish up a little bit on the notes, you know, interesting enough, one of the things I'm going to talk about in a minute is the price tag. Okay, now as far as the smell itself, see, one thing that has really captured my attention this week about this one is I've had kind of an epiphany this week because I now fully understand, after going through a lot of the amouages and the Hermès, I really have grown to understand the notion of an olfactory poem or an olfactory experience. One of the things in Fragrantica and Base Notes, if you go on the threads and comments, you'll see a lot of the frag snobs who will often scoff at designer fragrances or crowd pleasers, and they'll call it bug spray or deodorant or detergent. And I never really understood that, because when I first started in this, I was thinking, well, I mean, you know, I wear whatever smells good. I still have not deviated from that, but I now fully understand what they mean. Because when you smell something like this, it takes you to a moment that's based in the senses. So it's olfactory experience. And so what I mean by that is, if I were to ask you, you know, about a designer fragrance, Dior Sauvage, whatever, it might not be so much the smell of it that takes you to a particular moment or memory, but rather the event itself. So let's say it was when you proposed. Let's say it's when you ask a girl out to dance for the very first time, and that's when you smell Drakkar Noir. No, I'm kidding. So you get my point. So whereas with something like this, it's going to actually take you to an olfactory experience. And I can understand why the frag snobs, at least when they crave something like this, I understand it, because the ingredients are exceptional. It's clearly well blended. I mean, does that even need to be said for Jean-Claude Ellena? But it is, and it really separates itself fully from a notion of like detergent or dry cleaner or deodorant or soap, and it really does offer an olfactory experience, a specific moment encapsulated through the olfactory sense. So you see, I'm feeling philosophical today, but it really does. I mean, if you and I were to share a cup of apricot tea, then indeed you would know what this smells like. I really appreciate that about this. It's a huge success in the sense that he really made a fragrance that smelled like that particular day when he took the walk in China. So I just absolutely love that about this fragrance. Okay, now a couple things I'll be talking about later, of course, one of which is the price tag. Now, what's interesting about this fragrance, too, is this is probably going to be, I don't know how many people have reviewed this, but I'm probably the only one who's going to say this. It really does, though. I have to tell you guys, you know what? It actually smells a lot like Nivea cream. In fact, yesterday, I put Nivea cream on one arm and then I sprayed this on the other, and they're not exactly the same, but they are quite close. And so you know what? This little guy right here, for a 100 milliliter 3.4 ounce bottle of an EDT, you're looking on the Hermes site, is 278 smackers. And if you buy from Saks Fifth Avenue, it is currently well over $400 for a bottle of this. That's a bit pretentious, folks. And so for those of you who are on an extremely tight budget, but you're very curious about something like this, one thing you could do is you could buy a really inexpensive apricot-based dominant fragrance, like one's called apricot, but it's with a B, so it's French. It's like apricot. I don't know how to say it, but it's apricot with a B, and then Bergeron, it looks like, which I think is like apricot Bergeron. I don't know. I'm just making that up, but it looks like apricot Bergeron, and it's by Yves Rocher. In the post editing, I'll put a little picture or something. And I looked that up. That you can get that for $20, and you can get this for $5. So one thing you could do if you really like this scent is you could put this on your skin and then spray that over it, and that would be for plus tax, you're looking at about $27, which is of course 1/10 of 270 and change. So if you're really on a tight budget, you could pull this off at 1/10 of the price. You see what I do for you? Now, am I saying that it's going to smell exactly like this gem? No, I'm not. I'm just saying, man, as much as I love this smell, that's a lot of money for a bottle of 100 milliliter of this. So those are the notes. I wanted to give you that recommendation. It is a rather random comment. I do say that, but it really does smell quite a bit like it. So if you just added a little spritz of apricot-based fragrance cheapie on here, you might have that at 1/10 of the budget. You see what I do? If it sounds like I'm trying to save money, I am, folks. I just paid my daughter's ballet bill, so you're going to have to forgive me. All right, so those are the notes, and then let's take a look at longevity and and projection. The projection is decent. Projection is going to be about an elbow's length away from the body, pretty much what you want, and then. Here, the problem is going to be longevity. And I know some of you have noted that in my samples, like the sprayer is a lot smaller. You can see here, though, this is a bigger sample than they normally send. And you can see that I've used quite a bit. And I have sprayed quite a bit, folks. And I still, you're going to get 2 to 4 out of this. I mean, when it comes to longevity, I have to take some points off here because I mean, 2 to 4 hours for a fragrance that's 200 and 70 odd dollars is from the Hermes site is just not going to cut it for me. I don't care really how it smells. It smells fantastic. It really does. But as far as longevity, I just feel like you owe it to us to at least get us a work shift. So, for those of us on a budget, I know a lot of you guys don't mind respraying, reapplying, but you need to get it 6 to 8. All right, you were looking at 2 to 4, my friends, when it comes to longevity. So big points off when it comes to that. This is something that's going to stay close to the skin. This is something that, again, you would want to wear a lot of body cream, body lotion, and then spray on it. If you don't spray on your clothes, if you do spray on your clothes, that will help hair, wherever. But you're going to need a lot of help to get through a work shift for this, or a night out. Definitely detracts from the overall experience for me. Okay, so that is longevity. That is longevity and projection. Now, when it comes to now, here's another thing that's interesting. Okay, when it comes to, this is a unisex fragrance. So this line, all in Hermescence, I think they're all for men and women. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're all unisex. This one is, and so what's interesting is in our house, it was by gender we disagree. So in other words, my wife and daughter both said this could easily be pulled off by a guy, and then I voted that this was too feminine for me. So you guys can do what you want with that. And then my daughter said this is the perfect fragrance to for spraying to spray on your sheets and things like that. I would also disagree because of the $287 or $78, whatever it is, price tag. In fact, I was thinking it does smell nice. It's a very cozy scent, but if you ever wanted, to me, the perfect scent to spray on sheets or even on yourself right before you went to bed is definitely Lalique Pour Homme. I've had about 4 bottles of that, and that is the fragrance that I would choose if I had to pick one that I would want on sheets. That's just a lovely scent. That's another one too that I guess it's unisex. I mean, it's Pour Homme, but I really, really like that one, and women could pull that one off easy. This is another one. I mean, I understand the logic behind it. It's cozy. It smells wonderful, and because it doesn't project so much, I guess ironically, it would be good for to spray on yourself right before bed or on your sheets. So there you go. For me, in terms of gender, I would say this is, if we're looking at this as masculine, unisex, and then feminine, like Lucky Scent does, I would put this slightly off to the feminine side of unisex. It is unisex, there's no doubt, obviously. In fact, 3 people have differing opinions. Men and women can pull this off. I have a feeling, though, that more, in terms of signature scents, I feel like more women are going to say this is their signature scent. That's just my off-the-cuff take. I do see this more as feminine. It's a floral fruity, so to me that's just going to enter like I said, on the unisex range, but slightly off on the feminine side. Now, when it comes to age, yeah, I mean, this just smells so wonderful. I mean, there's really no specific age, but because it is floral and it does have a kind of with the tea and the apricot, it does have kind of an austere take on it. I would probably say the folks that are going to give reviews on Fragrantic and Base Notes were probably going to be like 35 to 40 and up on the age range on the women's side. Now, that is not to suggest, though, that I think that it is, or I think it's a mature or quote unquote older person scent. It's not at all. It's just a wonderful scent. I mean, there's nothing you can say, but I have a feeling that's what's going to happen, especially with the price tag, right? So think about it. Just those really expensive ones are probably going to be the people who have a little bit extra money, probably not going to be college students. So it's probably going to be a 35 and up in reality. But if you're in your 20s and you're curious about this one, get a sample. Like I told you guys earlier, Hermes, if you contact them and just ask for one, you can get one for free. So, if you're on the fence on this one, absolutely sample it first. Now, so that's age and gender. Seasons. Wow, what do we want to say with seasons? An apricot tea fragrance. I feel like this is a warmer climate. To me, this is a spring, summer. I see it more as a spring fragrance. That's just me. And it possibly fall too. I mean, it really smells great. So, but because of the longevity, I feel like the heat would probably make it even go from 4 hours to like a half hour. So I see this more as kind of a spring, not kind of, I see it as a spring fragrance dipping into the beginnings of summer. And if it's 104 out Fahrenheit, then yeah, you're probably, I don't know that this is gonna do so well in the heat. So that's just my take. Now so those are the seasons. Now versatility also is because it is such a specific scent, versatility is not high, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it's just a fantastic scent. In fact, that's what I mean is because it is so nice, you wouldn't really wear this to every single occasion. It's not. There's nothing that suggests that it's ultra formal though. It's light. It's very pleasant, and so as far as like formal or work, a night, it's not ultra romantic. So for me, what I would say is this would be something that I would imagine wearing to work. I would see this more as a daytime fragrance because it is so pleasant, though. You really could wear it all the time. Maybe if you were going to go out with colleagues after work to for happy hour, I could see spritzing some on right after your shift. You go to happy hour for 2 or 3 hours. I could see that as this kind of fragrance for me, that it doesn't enter the ultra romantic. It wouldn't be a date night scent for me. That's just my opinion. So in terms of versatility, more daytime, more office, probably. And then we would include something like informal social events, something like a happy hour, like a meet and greet. And then we would probably cap it though, and probably say it's not so much of a late night romantic date night out fragrance. All right, so that is the versatility kind of / events. And then I wanted to end actually with, remember I told you guys I was going to read a couple things. I took a picture of this review by a woman in Fragrantica, and I want to make sure that I definitely cite her work. And so, because I was so impressed by this, and I think she really nails this fragrance. And one of the things I'm working on in my episodes here with you guys is I can talk about what it smells like, but I can't walk you through an olfactory experience like she does. I'm working on that, and I'm trying to better that. So here it is. All right. Here's what she says. Her name is Silk Selkie, S-I-L-K, and then Selkie, S-E-L-K-I-E. She's on Fragrantica. So in the off chance, the extremely rare chance that you are watching this, kudos to you, because this is extremely impressive. Just listen to this. She says this about this fragrance. This is heartbreakingly gorgeous, and the tea is so genuine, so photorealistic, it feels like I'm cradling a hot cup of golden tea, Yunnan, under an apricot tree, serene, balanced, inviting, warm, osmanthus blossoms floating in fragrant stream for tea time of the soul. I can honestly forgive the price tag for this one, and I'm planning on saving for the largest bottle I can get my hands on. It's that glorious. Osmanthus apricot opening, underscored by golden black swirls of rich, malty black tea, dancing and softening and weaving in and out of perception like sunlight playing on the surface of warm, dark wood. Aaron H's comment about tea houses is so spot on. This perfume really does transport you. The main complaint I see here is regarding longevity and silage. And to that I say pish posh. I think Osmanth Yunnan is necessarily intimate and close to the skin. Sometimes it's not about ostentatious fragrance clouds. Although if that's what you prefer, stick to Tom Ford and take a gander at those price tags. To each their own. Osmanth Yunnan is ultimately very refined and tremendously personal, in the same way a cup of tea can be used to enhance one's solitude. Meditative, soft, beyond beautiful, peace and contentment in a bottle. Silk Selkie, you are amazing. I only wish I could give that kind of description, poetic and spot on about this fragrance. But I wanted to share that with you. Silk Selkie on Fragrantica. In the extremely off chance that you're watching this, congratulations, because I have come away very impressed by that comment, and I wanted to read it to you guys. Make sure you enjoy this. If you have it, please let us know what you think. If you've had better longevity, if you've had better projection than I did, and there you have it. Another review by the boards. We have a few things coming up. I'm going to step away from the first impression series for a couple of weeks, and so I'm going to go back to one traditional review, and then I'm going to actually do in 2 weeks, I'm going to do a top 10, my top 10 all-time women's fragrances. A few of you guys have asked for it, so I am going to make it, and I'm already making my list and why and where and years and et cetera, and houses, and I am delving into all of that. So much fun. So I really enjoyed this one because, like I said, in terms of longevity and price tag, it really misses its mark. You can see for Silk Selkie, that's just a non-issue because the smell is so wonderful. She doesn't mind reapplying. I get a little bit grumpy when it comes to having to reapply after 4 hours, after dropping 278 or whatever it was dollars, and that's just the Hermes website. But then when it comes to the notion of olfactory experience, I absolutely love this about this, and I really have enjoyed wearing it this week. So, you know, I've really come away this week with two differing opinions, and for that reason, I'm going to have to go 3 out of 5 sprays. So if this is your first episode with me, I rate every fragrance out of 5 sprays, and then I spray that number on me. When it comes to this one, you know, I feel like it's, in terms of smell, I have to go 4 out of 5 because it is robust. It's just wonderful. I love the apricot tea element to this. But for that much money, when you're talking about the longevity, and then also you add the fact that it's very expensive. I just don't know if you want to spend $280 for something that, quote unquote, would be great to spray on, you know, sheets or on yourself right before you go to bed. When I think of this fragrance, I think of, again, something along the lines of, spraying it on your sheets, spraying it on myself, like right before I went to bed. I think of giving this as a gift to someone that you don't necessarily know very well, because it's just so pleasant. I don't know how anyone could dislike this one. They might be a little bit lukewarm on it, but I mean, outright disliking this, you're probably not going to see too many people. I mean, it's just wonderful in terms of how well it's blended. So clearly a niche release, right? But because of the price point, I'm going to have to take a little bit some points off. So I would want to go 4 out of 5 for this, but I'm going to go 3 out of 5. And so I'm going to go 1 on each wrist and 1 in the center of the chest. 3 out of 5 sprays for this 2005 release from Hermes. All right, so we're going to go, ready? We're going to go boom, boom, and boom, and then just be action shot here. That one, I just feel like I ate an apricot. Okay, and just because I like you guys so much, I'm going to spray you. Okay, there you go. That's one for you. And it's been a while since I've wrestled with one. Usually I can give you my 1 out of 5, 5 out of 5. I can rate these pretty easily. This one I kind of feel guilty about giving a 3 out of 5. I feel like it deserves a 4 out of 5, but maybe, you know what we need? We need, you guys like my French, so I'm going to go ahead and say we need an Osmanth Yunnan extreme. That's what we need. We need an extreme version of this that's going to just give us a full-on beast mode for the same price. An EDP for this, or even a parfum release of this would definitely pique my interest. Are you listening, Hermes? All right, folks, there you have it. Another review by the boards. That is 3 out of 5 sprays from me. Really enjoyed it, though. Now, let me just say real quick. For 3 out of 5, remember, so 1 and 2 means I wouldn't have it in my collection. 4 out of 5 means I absolutely would. 4 or 5, that means I would. 3 is a kind of the gray area. And here's what I would say. I mean, in fact, in post-editing, I will cue the booze because I would not have this in my collection. And I would not buy it for someone else. And for the reasons that I've mentioned earlier. But I have really enjoyed this sample. And again, I'm going to drop the not so subtle hint to Hermès because I know they're watching. Make sure that you do an EDP or a Parfum or an Extrême, something to give us more bang for our buck. All right, there you have it. Another review via the boards. I really appreciate you guys watching. I wanted to update you on the next couple weeks, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And always remember, fragrance marks the celebration of today. Take care, everybody. Okay, so welcome to the bonus features. I wanted to say really quick that in the last episode, I have really enjoyed going back and forth with Jonathan Swift. Hi Jonathan, and so he is amazing. He has watched since the very beginning, if I'm not mistaken, right? You have been there since practically the beginning, if not episode 0, my top 20, my pilot episode 3 years ago. And he always comments, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. It means a lot to me. And last week I made a reference to The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and then he and I ended up having this big exchange about films. And so this has nothing to do with fragrance, by the way, but he and I went back and forth on the films, and then we eventually started talking about horror films, and I am a horror film buff. I love horror films. Every year I say, this is the year that I grow out of them, and I grow beyond horror films, and I'm not going to like them anymore, and then I go, nah, no, I still do. I still do. It's going to be another year, and you know what? It's not going to go away. I just love them. So he and I were talking. We made so many references to them that I finally said, "Look, I'm gonna put in the description box because I don't think in the comment box I can put attachments, but I'm gonna put in there my PDF of my top 100 horror films of all time." And here's how I did it. I do it by chronological. In other words, it's by the date. So like the first one just so happens to be the earliest. Once you make it into the top 100 horror films for me, I don't rank because it's just too difficult. I love them all in their own way. And so Jonathan and anyone else who happens to take a look, that is for you. That is the PDF in the description box. I hope that works. If not, I'll just send it through email. We'll work that out. But I wanted to include this bonus feature for you, and for anyone else who would like to check it out, it's in the description box. And for anyone else who's scrambling to try to figure out what in God's name is a horror film list, a PDF, doing in the description box of a fragrance review, there's no connection. Okay, so this has nothing to do with scary movies. There's no reference. It's just because in the comments for each episode we talk about practically everything under the sun.